One. Hello and happy Friday to everybody. Boy, I can't speak. It's odd couple time. That means we got Big Dave. We got Mikey. How you fellas doing this morning?
Doing
What's
great.
going on? What's going on, guys? Happy to see y'all, man.
Hey,
Yep.
this is great because you got Big Dave yesterday on the audio side and free on YouTube. Today you're getting Big Dave and Mikey on the audio side and free on YouTube. But it's kind of like Disney. We're doing it for a couple weeks and then we're gonna stick them back in the locker room. You're not gonna be able to see them again. So
Back in the vault.
back in the vault, baby. It's a vault locked down. So, fellas, I got some great topics for you. Let's just dive right into it. So, one of the things that drives me absolutely batty is umpires inserting themselves in games. Okay. I don't pay $50 to go see a game to watch an umpire say what they're going to say. I pay it to watch the players and the competition. The umpires are just there to make sure that the game is fair. What are your thoughts about are the umpires inserting themselves in too many games currently? Mikey, then Dave.
Uh, you know, honestly, a really good umpire is the one that you don't bring up. If you go through a game and you don't know who that umpire is, he's done a good job. For the most part, it's a hard job. Those guys throw home plate umpires, they throw so hard, all of it. But watching as much baseball as I do, I've seen too many times where the ball is 6 inches outside and they're ringing somebody up, and then there's a ball right down the middle and it's called a ball. I just don't I have problems with those kind of blatant misses.
Yep.
But for the most part, they do a pretty darn good job for how quick the game is at that level.
Hold on a second. Yep. All right, the Top Fan Rivalry Sports Desk has Angel Hernandez on the line right now. Oh, you want me to tell Dave that? Okay. Angel Hernandez said, even though your first pitch, Dave, was 12 inches outside, he would have still rung it up as a strike. Congratulations, Dave, on your first pitch.
He thought it caught the corner, huh?
Yeah, caught some corner. Dave, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
Hey, the only thing caught on the corner would have been any batter that was facing that nasty slider right there. Okay. All right. It was the most wicked 47-mile-an-hour piece of work you've ever seen in your life. Okay. Bill, like you said, tickets to baseball are not cheap. A night at the park will cost you a grip. I am not there to pay attention to the umpires. Like Mikey said, a good umpire is one that I do not even notice. That being said, unless you are Leslie Nielsen really rubbing it in and chalking one up and firing up, I don't want to know about you, okay? Notoriously, and it's obvious, the worst umpire in all of baseball. The guy is so bad, he actually admitted it. That's right, your friend, Angel Hernandez, okay? Even though he missed most of 2023 with a medical issue, I think that was God trying to get even for us. But anyway, when he was on the field, he was just as bad as always. Horrible behind the plate. He may actually be the worst umpire in history, and that's something to be said because, like Mikey said, I lost my train of thought there. It's a ungratuitous job. Okay. It's one of the hardest jobs in the game. All right. But that is your job. All right. That is your specified occupation. You studied for this. You prepared for this. You are at the big leagues of this. Guys like Hernandez, CB Buckner. Okay. This guy's a joke behind the plate. He's got an enormous yet inconsistent strike zone, and the demonstrative strike calls annoy hitters to no end. Okay, he's not even good about it. Okay, and then last night, okay, let's go on and talk about the 800-pound elephant in the room known as Ronel Blanco. All right. I know you Dodger fans out there are calling for the Astros heads. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Oh, they're not winning. They got to start cheating. They can't win without cheating. Pump the brakes. What happened in 2022? All right, stop. We're living rent free in your house. You need to worry about putting some space on the rest of the NL West and quit worrying about us over here in the American League. All right. Did Ronel Blanco have sticky substance in his glove and on his non-throwing hand? Yes. Okay. Anybody that knows baseball knows what happens when you have rosin on your skin and you start to sweat. All right. Do I think that the guy was using it as an unfair advantage, like wiping jalapeno in your nose to get a little cut on it? Okay. I do not think so. The guy has been lights out. He was very confused by the whole thing, probably having to go through a translator just to find out what was going on. He willingly gave the glove up for inspection. It wasn't like he was hiding anything. And then like he had sandpaper on the bill of his cap. Look, rules are rules, and that's what they're there for. I get it. All right. He was given a 10-game suspension. He did not appeal it. He started it today. The Astros won. He's got 9 games to go. It is what it is. My problem with it, all right, and I know I'm going on a rant here. My problem with it is that I would like it to be called consistently across the board. Now, if you saw me on social media earlier, you know I mentioned Yamamoto. Henceforth, I'm a man to admit when I'm wrong. The Giants broadcast team were the ones that announced that they saw a white substance in his glove, which was reported by MSN.com. Mikey, that's what I was referring to earlier. I have since went back, did a little more studying, and found out that it was indeed just the Nike logo. You know, it was too white. It was, camouflaging the ball a bit. He went in, changed gloves, came back, gave up a dinger. Might I say, though, I did go back and watch this game, and you can go back and watch. I may be wrong, but I think he switched back to the illegal glove. I'm just saying. All right. Now, that being said, take Yamamoto out of it, okay? Astros fans, get that out of your mouth, okay? You sound stupid when you say that, okay? My problem is that it's not the same. Like Max Scherzer, notoriously, he was bothered a couple of innings by it. They were pestering him about it. They told him to wash his hands. You know what I'm saying? And then he was tossed, okay? The pitcher for the Yankees. I can't remember his name because I will not commit Yankees and that player's name to memory if I don't have to. But he was also given the option to wash his hands in between innings. Okay. I don't get it. If it's a rule, call it as such. Okay. Normally, the ones that I've seen on this, when they see a substance, it is the immediate ejection. You're out of here. This had a whole assembly, and they were talking about it, and then finally and side Joe, our skipper did not get mad enough at this tossing. Can you imagine what Billy Martin, or God rest his soul, your guy Tommy Lasorda would have done had Fernando got tossed in such a manner? I mean, stuff would have been getting thrown out of the dugout. Okay. But that being said, like I said, there are rules. It is what it is. If it was rosin with sweat, he probably should have did a better job at wiping it off. Did he probably have it on there the whole game and thought, well, they're letting me go with it. Let me go with it. So be it. That being said, it is what it is. Call it straight across the board. If the other guys got opportunity to wash their hand or change the glove or whatever the case may be, do it. Or ring them up as soon as you see it. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
So
proper rant.
There's a way to handle this, I think. So one of the things that drives me absolutely batty is if a ball even comes close to touching the ground, what do? They get a new
throw
ball.
It out of the game.
Right. And 97% of the pitchers, what do? They take their glove off and they rub up the ball for a second.
Yeah.
What they could have done is, if it truly was rosin and sweat, they could have said to him in Spanish, if he doesn't understand English, they could have said to him in Spanish, hey, go wash your hands. Your hands are getting a little sticky from the rosin and the sweat. Like, they could have given him a warning. Because, again, everybody rubs up the ball, right? I mean, remember, they had the controversy several years ago where the league used to rub up the balls for them and were trying to get them to avoid doing that. there's a way to handle this. I just, again, this is another thing about the umpires inserting themselves in games that just drives me batty, fellas. There's
Yep.
other ways. Go ahead.
Can I go off
Sorry,
on a tangent real quick with that ball rubbing thing?
Yeah.
I think I read or watched a documentary on it's a husband and wife that rub up every ball
Right.
in Major League Baseball with some special mud that they have or something.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there was an issue. There was an issue in Colorado a couple of years ago because they were rubbing up the balls, and for some reason in Colorado they were making the balls launch more, something like that. So the MLB basically said, "Hey, we're going to stop this." I mean, can you imagine putting that on your? And what do you do to put that on your resume? What do you do? Well, I rub it the right way. Like what? What's what's your resume say?
Major League Ball Rubber. How about that for a resume filler?
Yeah. I mean, what is this, Johnny Gill? I'm gonna rub you the right way. Like, come on.
All
I'll leave
jokes
my
aside, I
comments to
saw the
myself.
same documentary. I saw the same one Mikey's talking about, and it is mud. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, "There's no way that's a major league ball." And then they put the mud, and then they washed it, or wiped it, or buffed it, or whatever, and it's like, wow, like it really, it broke it down. It was phenomenal.
They're ball rubbers.
Yeah.
The best in the game.
Yeah.
Is there a minor league that they have to like go to AA, AAA? You know, it's like Bush League ball rubbers.
Maybe they're since it's a family thing. Maybe their kids are in the minors right now. You know,
who knows?
Learning the trade.
Third generation ball rubber. Love it.
So here's my next question for you guys. Okay, the United States military forces retirement at a certain time, right? A number of people, which by the way, that's kind of funny because the head of the military, the commander in chief, isn't forced to retire at a certain age. But I digress on that. Should there be a forced retirement for umpires? I mean, look at what we're seeing now. Or should there be reviews and a little bit tougher reviews on calls, balls and strikes, things like that? Now with instant replay, it's a little different, but what do you guys think? Dave, you start this first.
Okay, so the military, the Department of Motor Vehicles, they all closely watch somebody's age for deterioration of things such as reaction time, vision, mental sharpness, just to say a few. Okay, the guy who botched the whole Astros thing last night is a fellow by the name of Laz Diaz. He's 60 years old. He's been up since 95. Okay, I was in high school when this guy was breaking his teeth calling balls and strikes. Now he's a crew chief, and he's even worked in 3 World Series. I thought that their performance on the field kind of based on what crew chief and what crew got the World Series. So I'm shocked to even hear that. But I think that an age requirement, or at least tougher guidelines that get prorated with age, they definitely need to be taken into effect. There are analytics now that gauge missed calls, bad strikes. Look, balls and strikes is a whole nother thing. That is a split-second decision that you're making. And, you know, in the blink of an eye, something that looks 6 feet off the plate, your eye could tell you the way that the catchers, frame up. The good ones always are great at framing the pitch. So, look, I'm not going to argue that. That is what the challenge is for. Okay, that is what they have the eye for, or the what's the thing on Fox, the strike zone or whatever. Utilize that in some way. But I mean that's for a conversation later on. But I think that the proof is in the pudding. When guys like Angel Hernandez, C.B. Buckner, just notoriously and constantly having their calls questioned, it's got to be brought to somebody's attention. But as we know, I know you guys in LA just absolutely love Commissioner Manfred. He is, he acts by not acting. So who knows what'll be happening to it. But I don't know what you think, Mikey, but I definitely think that it should be considered in consideration.
Mikey.
Yeah, well, I know that, they get graded. I don't know if they ever come out and let everybody know what their grade is. I mean, basically the times I see Angel Hernandez, he usually stinks, but I see him, when the Dodgers get to play somebody. I don't follow him as an umpire to see wherever he's playing, umping to see how he does every game. I 60. I don't think you're old at 60. You could still be really good at something at 60. Anything. If you're a good ump, you should be able to go as long as you can. But I do think they're awful protected as far as not being held. I don't, if you're not doing a good job, you should be able to be demoted or sent to the minors to work your way back, whatever. I don't care if you've done it for 40 years. If you're
as
losing
in
it,
any job, in any
yeah,
career path, if
yeah,
your performance deteriorates, you are
yeah,
subject to penalty or loss of job. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm not saying 60 is the number.
yeah.
For every bad 60-year-old ump, there's a half a dozen that I don't even know their name. They're doing a fantabulous job. But I do think the grading needs to somehow be I don't know, utilized better and to see who does it now. And I don't know how many young umps are out there. I don't know if this is a career that, like pilots and truck drivers, we're losing and we're in need of. I don't know. Maybe that's why these guys are here. But I'm not one to blame a referee. I've watched a lot of baseball, and there are very few. I can count on one hand times where I saw a play that I thought an umpire botched it to where it definitely cost the team a game. There are definitely more points in the game where you probably had a chance to win or lose the game, bet more than that call by the ump. But that being said, it's annoying when it happens, and it's definitely annoying when it happens to your team.
I just, like I said, I know they get graded after every game. It's looked at. So make it so everybody can see it. What was his grade? What's his overall grade for the like semesters, I guess. I don't know, through a 30 game, 50 game,
Monthly.
whatever we're at this part of the season, what's his grade? I mean,
What's his monthly grade?
yeah, and if you're failing, then be sent down. I know once these umpires, come up, they're protected. I mean, they're protected. I mean, Angel Hernandez should have lost his job a long time ago. Let's be honest. I mean, he's horrible at his job.
You gave me a great idea. We could start the very first Major League Umpire Power Rankings. There we go. Now that's a stat that people would be interested in.
That is
coming soon to TopFanRivalry.com.
That is a stat that everybody would be interested in, right?
Yeah, if you're failing, they're just too protected. Their labor laws, whatever, their union. I'm pro-union. I get all of that, but at a certain point,
you got to be held accountable.
You got to have repercussions for your actions, and yeah, and I love that some umpire. Ooh, he was, he's in the Hall of Fame under the whatever award. He umped for 50 years and was amazing. I mean, if he was amazing, that means he did a great job. I don't want 50 years of Angel Hernandez. I just don't.
So Dave, you asked this question, and I'll give you the answer because I looked it up a couple years back. You go to a school, it's usually held in January, where they teach you for 2 weeks. There's only 2 in the country, where they teach you for 2 weeks how to be an umpire. And then what they do is they put you in low A or high A ball. Worst case scenario, if there's too many of them, they'll put you in college ball, right? But mostly A ball. You work your way up based on how well you do. When you get to AAA, just like majors, you're just waiting for a call up. And the problem that you run into is you have and I don't know the actual statistics, but on a Friday night, you will have all 30 teams playing, which means there's 15 games. So that means there's 4 umpires for all 15 games. So if you do the math on that, that's 60 umpires total. Plus you're going to have days off, plus you have the review guys in New York and things like that. So there's probably a grand total of 100 to 150 umpires in Major League Baseball. So if you're in AAA, you might be down there. And I read some statistics. You may be down there for upwards of 6 years in
Yeah.
AAA. And you're making peanuts.
Yeah.
Riding the bus.
Yeah.
These guys, I had a guy a couple years older than me, but we played traveling softball together before he got his act together, and he went to umpiring school. Phenomenal athlete, phenomenal shape, blah, 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 all that. I know he's not in the major leagues. I haven't heard from him in a long time. I don't even know where he might not even be working in baseball. That's how hard it is. I mean, just, once you get through umpire school, I mean, you're lucky. I mean, you're the best of the best when you make the majors. When you get that call, getting that call for them is like being called up for a baseball player. I mean, it's big.
Huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, it's a thankless job. You're only as good as your next bad call. Like, for all the good stuff you do or all the cheers you get.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, if you're anonymous really as an umpire, I've never even heard of him. You're probably good.
You're really
good.
What
I mean? Who's going to tease you in a commercial for being perfect or for being really exceptional? It's the bad guys that you hear of.
The only guys that you hear that are umpires are the really bad ones or the ones that are generational, like Hunter Wendelstedt, because his dad was an umpire for 30 years prior. So the Wendelstedt name goes back into the 60s for umpiring. So unless you're a generational talent like that, nobody knows. Like you said, Mikey, if I don't know who the umpires are, you're doing a great job.
I wonder if his dad was as bad as he is.
Well, Aaron Boone, I'm sure, will have some thoughts.
Apparently, we had Harry Wendelstedt growing up, right? This is Hunter is his son. This guy is an angry guy. I just don't. His temperament is not good for his job.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, listen. Until instant review came up, and you could have a lot of unique nights. But I'll tell you what, right now, we're going to go back to the first original question. Dave, in 30 seconds, tell me what you think would have happened if Mr. White was thrown out of yesterday's game or 2 days ago's game. If T. Lasorda or Billy Martin or Lou Piniella were the skippers.
First of all, hat would have been flipped off, hair would have been blown in the wind, spit would have been exchanged face to face, dirt may have been kicked, and if Tommy was standing anywhere near first base, the base probably would have gotten thrown.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, last question that I have for you guys, and then, can I get a hug segment? So the question is this. Mikey, it's your turn. Give me a 30 to 45 second answer to this. Instant replay and challenges. Are they good for the game or no?
I love them. I want the call right, but I do think, sometimes it takes too long. Basically, if there's a call on the field and it goes into a replay, if you can't look at it and know within 15 seconds, if you can't make a call, you just got to say go with it. Sometimes it just takes too long. But I'm definitely about getting the call right. I don't want to look back on it. And, I can remember there's times, I can't even think of a specific play, but I know there's been times where I'm like, we lost that game and I don't think he was, out when you look at it. I would rather it just be called right. So no, I'm for it. I just think they got to do a better job of getting it in and getting it out and keeping the flow of the game going.
100%. Dave.
look, we agree that it can't hurt to be correct on calls, okay? Especially the blatantly, when a guy gets called out at first and you can clearly see, like Mikey said, within seconds of seeing it, that the foot hit before the ball got in the glove. Yep. I'm all for it. I recently went to the Sugarland game, minor league team, and they actually can contest balls and strikes there. That gets a little tedious because it happened a whole lot. And for the most part, the umpire was correct. I think only one was overturned that night, and it was a strike that was called a ball on a 3-2 count. Next guy hit a grounder, so it was immaterial. Maybe take some rules like from other games, like maybe limit strikes. I mean, because I get it. We all want the strike zone to be called correctly. Inconsistent strike zones and inconsistent calls, nobody likes it. If a guy's got a widened strike zone, at least call it on both sides of the ball is all I'm saying. Okay, make sure both pitchers get the opportunity to hit the same zone. All right. If you want to start challenging balls and strikes, you got to limit it. Maybe 2 to a game, and if you get both of those right, you get awarded a third, something of that nature. And the challenge plays at first are some of the favorite plays I like because you see the guys, it gives an incentive to run out an infield hit. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a problem. I just agree with Mikey. If whatever the call is on the field, trust your umpires. If you can't see it instantaneously, then just confirm the call on the field and move on. There's no need for 2.5, 3 minutes of review on a play. I mean, most everybody in the stadium and watching on TV already know what's up.
Yeah, you don't need 12 camera angles. Just 1 or 2, be done. Just quick.
So, yep. So I agree with what both of you are saying, but you've got to get it right. Right. Yeah. So the infamous call in New York that ended the game against the Braves, I think it was a week and a half or so ago, that sucked because Alonso did not have a clear path to the plate. They should have called that based on the rule. Right. Yesterday, the Orioles game, there was a play at the plate. They got it wrong. Yesterday as well with Philadelphia, there was a bang play at first. They got that right.
Fastball? No, sorry.
Yeah, bang bang. Bang fastball. That's a natural reaction. But you have to get it right. If you're going to spend the time, get it right. But don't take 3 minutes to do it. If I'm a pitcher, I'm pissed off about that. Like, don't get me out of my zone. Let's go.
Yeah, don't get me out of my rhythm.
I do know that as far as them getting graded, there are grace things like they do give you room for error. They give you a couple inches off the plate when they're grading you. They're things like that. If it's close, it's close. I mean,
if it's close, it's close.
Yeah. So
look, consistency is
at the end of the day. For the most part, they do a great job. Most of them. It's a hard job.
Yeah, very hard job.
Yes, no. I think consistency is the key. I mean, you could take it to balls and strikes. You could take it to strike zones. You could take it to a crew chief's stance on blocking the plate. Call it consistently. Substance in the glove. Are we immediately tossing the guy? Are we giving some guys a chance to wash their hands? Look, I know I'm beating the drum, but it is what it is. Consistency.
Well, was it on his hand or was it on his glove? I mean, if it's on his hand, I mean, there should be no reason for him to keep wiping the same spot of his glove. If it's in the glove, you're kind of fudging it. If it's in your hand, I get it. I do understand sweat and rosin. But if it's rubbed into your glove, there's not much to do. Outside of just, the Joe Negro throwing the thing, throwing his arms in the air, but you see the thing going in the air.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody saw that.
You got caught. It's on your glove. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I thought do they still check gloves? I see real quick they check their hands sometimes when they come off the field.
Look, like I said, rules are rules. Okay, he had the substance, toss him immediately. why did the other guys get an opportunity to wash their hands or whatever? That's all I'm saying. Get them a chance
But
to
that's
change
what
the
I'm
glove.
saying. Was it on their hand or was it in their
Well,
glove?
he always puts a little bit on his non-throwing hand. That's how he touches it. And it was extremely humid. Like, and look, they come across as excuses. I get it. They're all like buttholes. They all stink. Everybody's got one. I'm just saying, make it consistent. Okay, just have it a rule where the first infraction, you get the opportunity to change gloves, wash your hand, whatever. If it's egregious, if they call it and they're noticing balls that are sticky, hey, that's another thing. If you find a substance on a ball, hey, all right. If it's something like that where you obviously can't prove without a shadow of a doubt and you're giving other guys a chance, that's all I'm saying. Call it across the board or immediately boot them all. Okay. It's just like a strike zone. I want the same opportunity as the other guy across the field from me.
One more quick topic thing for the whole umpire thing. Do you, as a fan, I love the box you can see on TV. They can't see that. I sometimes I wonder if people realize that, they don't see that box when they're calling the game. I mean, do you think that's good for baseball or bad for baseball?
I think it's good for fans, especially younger fans, newer fans. Okay. But the problem that they need to do is they need to have somebody. I think Harold Reynolds would probably be a great guy to come on and explain something. If it's touching the line or just off the line on your screen, you got to understand that the guy watching that play come in, that's right there. That's as quick as it happened. Okay. So if he's off by an inch, cut the guy some slack. Stop. You hear it at the game all the time, like, oh, you blew it. Like, dude, it wasn't egregious. It wasn't, the damn thing didn't bounce and he called it a strike. Okay. So I like it. Like I said, anything that can get more fans watching the game, so be it. You want to teach them. And it also, more knowledgeable fans is a better fan base. Let's be honest. Okay. Every fan base has their
I like
ignorance.
it as well. I just, sometimes you see the person that posts the thing where it has the box there and then they have the ball lit up and it's like 3 or 4 balls outside and it's being called a strike. Right. And then there's one right down the middle that's called a ball. If you're looking for games to go faster, I would think that the league would say, hey, anything close to the strike zone or borderline, call it a strike. Let's keep the games moving. How are you calling a strike a ball? I mean,
I also think, and I've seen it happen and I believe it happens. We've all done it where you just have a brain fart. It comes in, your brain saying strike, 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 and you go ball.
Yeah.
It's a thankless job. Like I said, you're only as good as your next mistake. I get it. Just for the sake of baseball, just be consistent as you can be.
Right. Be as consistent as you can be.
Have everybody taught the same. And I'm sure they have like meetings before the season. I'm sure umpires have spring training where they cover new rule changes and whatnot. Really enforce the point with these guys. Like Mikey said, if it's close, if it's right there, call it. I don't think anybody's going to groan on pitches that are an inch or two off the plate. It's the ones that, like Mikey said, go straight down the middle, get called balls, or they're right at the guy's nose and it's called a high strike.
Right.
And one more, sorry, Bill, one more quick thing about that is I lost my train of thought there. Darn, it was a good one though. Darn it, sorry.
Strike zone by the nose.
Yes.
So you made me stop for something that you forgot?
Yes. And it was poignant. Darn it.
Look, that in the business is what we call a teaser. Tune in next week to hear what Mikey was thinking about.
That is what is called the brain fart.
Just like calling a ball down the middle of
the brain teaser, right?
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Hey, it happens, man.
Yep. Okay. Real quick, 30 seconds because we're out of time. Dave, is the AL Central the most interesting division to watch right now, seeing that you've got 3 teams that are making headway between the Indians, the Guardians, the Royals, the Guardians the Royals and the Twins?
Well, actually, there are 4 teams in that division playing above 500. So, I mean, only Dr. Schaefer's lowly White Sox are stinking up the joint. Is it the most exciting in baseball? Maybe not. I think it's definitely one where they're the most contenders as any division. You know, there are 4 legitimate teams that can make a race for that division crown. Does that mean it's exciting? Maybe to those fans. Detroit, Kansas City fans, Cleveland fans, fine. But I mean, I think that might possibly be geographical. I, of course, am all in on watching the Astros pull this out. Coming back from everybody putting the etchings on the tombstone already. I know that people in Baltimore are all excited about them because the Yankees are playing well, even without some of their biggest hitters hitting. But them young Orioles are still doing. It is what it is, and I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think it'll come down to the wire, but I think everybody has their own opinion on what is exciting. And watch the Astros come back and break the hearts of the South Oklahoma Rangers. Nothing can be better in my book.
How do we go to the American League West with that?
I don't know. Mikey, I bet I stopped listening before you did.
Just like that 47-mile slider, we had much movement, bro. That's how you got to pay attention because there's a lot of moving pieces here.
So I'm going to talk American League Central. The Dodgers are playing phenomenal baseball. 29-15. Shohei, what a player. No, the American League Central that's going to be one of those kind of divisions where you're going to have, sorry, Mr. Schaefer, but, the other 3 or 4, they're Kansas City, the Guardians, who Tigers. Are the other 2? Tigers and Royals. They're all going to, none of those guys are going to run away with anything, and they're all going to be not very much over 500. It's going to be a pretty, interesting division to watch for the season.
Yep. Okay. We got to go. But here's the thing. If you're listening to this audio, Dave, go ahead.
Look here. If you got the audio, hey, kudos to you. Thank you for enjoying us on your ride to work, on your ride home, on your lunch break, for your morning constitution, whatever it may be. Thank you for listening. But for those with the benefit of video technology, you get to see my lovely face, my handsome friend, Mikey Bleeds Blue, and this guy on YouTube right now. You can go catch up on old episodes. All right. All I need you to do is go to the Top Fan Rivalry page on YouTube and smash the subscribe button. Okay. You're getting great content for absolutely free, no charge to you right now. Take advantage because, like Bill says, when they go back in the vault, they're gone forever.
At least for 6 more months type thing. They always, I don't know when Disney thinks.
Unless you got locker room access, which you can go to TopFanRivalry.com, get your locker room access. Use code Big Dave, save yourself 10%. You can also get gorgeous t-shirts.
What's the one with Mickey Mouse where he's a magician? How many times have they put that in the vault?
The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yeah, whenever they need to dust Mickey off.
You are, hey, we're about, 40 million under this month. Run it back. Let's go. Bring it out. Bring it out of the vault, Bring
it out of the vault. All right. So like Dave said, use your discount codes. Make sure that you're following us, subscribing to us on not only YouTube, you're following us on Instagram, you're following us on X or Twitter. We are going to do this again next week. So be prepared. Dave, yes, sir.
I've got it on good authority that your baseball-loving dad would also love locker room access. So we'll keep it in mind. It makes a great Father's Day gift. You can also get that gorgeous hat Bill's got on.
There you go. All right, all. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch up with you again soon. As Dave would say, go Dodgers, and let's have a good one.
Go Stros.
Go Dodgers.